vibration of creation, the cosmic hum. The eternal cyclic rhythm of earth, moon, and sun. Earth song is the ancient conversation between shore and sea. The love ballad between flower and bee. Earth song is the melody of mountains that rise and fall.
Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another interview in Embody the Empress. We are looking at how to blossom and flourish in harmony with the natural world. Today, our beautiful guest is coming to us all the way from Costa Rica, and I am so excited to do this interview. There is so much in Dr. Katia Miller's story that I'm really looking forward to exploring. So for those of you that haven't had a chance to connect with Katia before, and this is the first time you're meeting her, she is a physician, an earth mystic, and a devoted apprentice to nature's wisdom who was diagnosed with MS. And that diagnosis, I imagine, played an enormous role in your whole story, but we'll come to that in a little bit. So, Dr. Katia, thank you so much for being with us, darling.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. I'm gonna correct you a bit. It's Puerto Rico instead of Costa Rica.
Oh,
But yes, it's close by.
oh, I was in the wrong place. I'm glad you let me know. Thank you. So, what I want to do is just travel back in time a little bit. I love looking at who my guests are in that pocket of time when it may be, and just intuitively allow the what feels like the right moment to share, starting there. But what I'm looking at is, who you were when you were being launched into womanhood. It may be around 14, 17, 18, 21, in that pocket of time when you have a connection to a pivotal moment or an understanding of who you thought you were at that time, and perhaps the direction that took you on.
Ooh, what's coming through around that point in time, early teens, is my experience when I got my moon cycle.
Mm.
I didn't like it. A very religious environment, and the energy about being a woman getting your period was like, yay, you're a woman, and now you have to do all the woman responsibilities, which was like serve a man, which was based on the religious aspect.
Right.
I didn't like it. And I feel that at that time, I felt this energy. I'm actually recalling a moment where I would kneel and pray and say, I don't want this. I
Mm.
do not want to have kids. We can get rid of this now. Please and thank you, energy. And I feel there was a resistance around who I was becoming as a woman because it was bound to that religious role of the woman being submissive to the man. And if the man was a bad man, you were kind of screwed. So that kind of came up when you
Yes.
asked me to go back in time.
Yeah. And so roughly what age were you? Do you remember?
I feel I was 12.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a heavy weight on a 12-year-old girl's shoulders to be thinking about that as your role, as what you were here to do. So your journey in school, as you went through school, did you have a clear connection to wanting to do something in the medical field, or was that something that came later?
When I was little, I was very sick with asthma.
Mm,
My experience with healthcare was having to go to the hospital in the middle of the night because all the natural remedies my mom would try were still compromising my breath. So we were at the hospital and I was getting pricked on, and I didn't like it.
mm,
And I feel that time was when I said, I want to make sure that I know what's happening to me so that I don't get sick. And if I do, I know what to do. It was a defense mechanism.
yeah.
And at a very early age, I knew it was medicine, defense mechanism wise. And it was the energy of, I'm going to know what's wrong, I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to help my family and the people that I love.
Mm. Yeah, okay. So you went straight from school into studying medicine? Yeah.
I actually, yeah, like when I was in high school, I actually graduated a year early doing summer school. Like I was really like in there. And then I went into college and then I did two double bachelors. And then from then I went to medical school. Like I was like back to back to back to back to back until like several pauses. But yeah, that was a very early on defense mechanism.
Yeah, okay. And did you, during that time of study, obviously you've gone off on a very, what I'm seeing from your stories, you've taken a very different path into a very holistic model of medicine. What was the catalyst that took you from a very allopathic mainstream picture to a holistic one?
Well, this was February 2015. I was going to finish internal medicine residency.
Yeah.
And right at that time, I started getting these weird symptoms right on my right side. And I started tripping on my right foot. And when I told my program director about it, he was like, let's get you an MRI. And when he saw the results, he said, this is a mess. Multiple sclerosis. We're going to send you to the best neurologist I know.
Right.
And they sent me off to the hospital. That was when I noticed my experience of my career changed. And while being treated correctly with the best treatments, with the best doctors, I started on Tecfidera. That pill was not, my body was not having it. I was getting the side effects of it, like all the 0.1% side effects that this pill had, I was getting. And
Mm.
at the same time, I had to be a doctor, be a wife, be a mom, be a daughter, be a leader. And I knew there had to be another way. So I was my own catalyst, if you will.
Yeah. It's, my background is naturopathy and functional nutrition. That's what I studied. And when I came into the online world, that's, what I imagined I would be talking about most of the time. It hasn't transpired that way, but it's still a very integral part of how I live, using food as medicine. But I remember at that time, I was very taken with the story of Dr. Terry Walls. I don't know if you've come across her work, but I've heard there's been a couple of people in my radar that have done miraculous things with MS. So I'm intrigued
Mm.
here the discovery, the journey that you have been on with that. So what was the first sort of modalities that you tried to support yourself?
I started with food. I
Mm.
started eliminating all the things that I felt were processed, inflammatory foods that had toxins in it. Um, the actual thing that woke my intuition back up was a sweat lodge experience in Mexico.
Ah,
We were visiting family, and all of a sudden we were in Tulum in this beautiful place where cenotes were nearby. Cenotes is like this natural water place where it's like really cold and really healthy properties. So I saw the sweat lodge and immediately I was like, what's that? And then they told me what it was. They told me there was a shamana coming a few days down to do a birthday ceremony. And I was like, oh, can I be part of it? I don't know. My body was just um and I remember my experience at that sweat lodge with the shamana. She saw me and all of a sudden she was like, your energy, I'm gonna stand you here. Like there was a way she had the people placed. That experience for me within that sweat lodge, I just knew the pill had to go and I had to find my own way.
Yeah.
So that was 2017. I was diagnosed 2015. I started the pill 2016. And 2017, I was in the sweat lodge experience. And from then on, I began finding my way, natural ways. What could I do? Body movement, breath, meditation, stillness practice, how to boost my immune. And it was basically the sweat lodge that brought this intuitive nudge to my life again, I feel.
How long do you stay in a sweat lodge? It's not an experience I've had. Is it?
It depends. It could be anywhere from an hour to a little bit more. Depends on the shaman. Several shamans can use the four directions as portals, and then each door has a process of release.
Mm.
My first experience was with the energy centers. Samana went from root chakra all the way to the crown. I feel that was the first time I heard chakra word ever. 2017
Yes.
in Tulum, I was like, okay. But when I walked out of that sweat lodge, because you have to, it's like an igloo.
Yeah.
And to come inside, you have to squat. And the idea is that you're crawling into the womb.
Yeah.
And while you're in the process of the heat, the sweat, the herbs, you really have this part of you release. And when you're walking back out, you really change temperatures. And when you walk out, it's like you're being born again, walking back out of the womb. It's such a beautiful experience.
It sounds really magical, and I've heard other people talk about it. I would love to really get a picture of your experience, your thoughts with the crazy trajectory that we seem to be on with medical and physical health. And from my perspective, the way that I see it, and as a mother of four, and obviously in community with women all the time and different things, but I just see the further and further we move away from traditional wisdom and living in harmony with the natural world, the sicker and sadder we get. And I have a way of looking at things that is probably far too simplistic, but I see the way to turn this around. Not easy. I don't tangle up easy and simple, but I think it's really quite a simple solution. And I get bewildered by how we just keep seem to going in the wrong direction. So if you could share your experience of what you're seeing, having been trained in the allopathic medical model and now also educating yourself in the holistic way of doing things, I would love your take on all of this, because I want to be clear before I dive into this. I want to be quite clear that I'm not anti anything. You know, I had a son who nearly died of meningitis, and he was saved by pharmaceutical. So I'm not anti anything, and I just want to preface that.
I am so ready for this one.
Good.
This is my take.
Yeah.
I'm coming from patient. I'm coming from nurse, because I did have a nursing background. I'm coming from doctor, and I'm also coming from a caregiver of elderlies with medical conditions, having lost my father to multiple myeloma. Unfortunately, there is an energy that thrives on keeping you coming back. And there is also the potential that I see the healthcare industry can have if they begin looking at the body outside just the physical aspect. They don't teach much about emotions, energy, intuition, and environment when you're in medical school, because yes, there's the psych class and the psychology and the diagnosis, but they don't teach you how to link the fact that there is thought, an emotion, a feeling, a body part, an energy condition.
Yep.
So when you see yourself at the doctor's office, if you do not have that inner awareness with yourself, that connection with your intuition, that I know this is wrong with my body and I don't want this pill, is there another treatment? You're going to fall victim to the system's agenda.
Mm.
Everything has its place. Acute infections, emergencies, traumas, fractures. There is a place for everything. And when you find yourself looping into something, that's when you get to ask yourself, is there another way?
Mm.
That's my way of witnessing the powerful energy there is right now with becoming anti and pro, because I see that. Once people see that there is another way, I felt the anger towards the system in the sense of, I'm feeling better this way, and you kept this from me.
Mm.
So there gets to be a compassion about what's happening. And more importantly, you get to be in tune with your body and yourself before you go to any kind of health professional.
Mm. I think we've been, my experience is that we have been almost indoctrinated with an idea that doctors are like gods, and you are a goddess, beautiful soul. But this idea of this godlike status where we don't question, this godlike status where we say, well, you're the expert, I'll tell me what to do and I'll just follow, which takes the power out of the patient. And this is,
I would so tell my patients not to do that. I'm like, no. The fact that they come with the whole, well, you're the doctor, you should know. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not the one that goes home with you when we're done here.
Yeah.
You get to tell me what you feel. You get to tell me what's happening at home, what you're eating, what's going on at work. Yeah, that's one of the things that gets to really change the patient autonomy that we're taught to honor is sometimes taken away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see that very much here in Australia where, you have a medical appointment and you get like 5-10 minutes and it's just like, tell me this, I'll give you this prescription and see you later. That the relationship that is built in, from my experience with a naturopath, you go and you sit down and it is a very privileged thing because it costs a lot more, but you go and sit down for an hour and they get to know you and they're looking at all the different layers of thoughts, words, beliefs, lifestyles, all the different things. It's a very different experience, but I think a lot of people haven't experienced both sides of it and so only know one.
And it's usually like this is what I feel. We get to have the choice, and that's not usually how it goes. You have a condition and then, well, you go to the doctor and then the doctor knows and then it gives you this remedy, and then you're not really exposed to other ways. And like you mentioned, if we look back, we have lost our own ways from our upbringings, from our mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers. And then that we're just completely vulnerable to the fact that this is what they're giving us and you're trusting. And then sometimes your intuition tells you, I don't know about this pill. But then you're like, well, it's the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
That.
Yeah. So what I want to do is really look at how we bring this traditional wisdom back. And some of the things that we discuss, people will know about, and some of them they may not. But if we think about preventative healthcare and, and treatment for the everyday things that we may have. And when I say everyday, there is the mental unrest, all the anxiety and sadness. I'm not talking about clinical depression, but like the things that are so prevalent in our society now. And what are some of the things that I know you touch on? Ayurveda, colors, chakras, food, energy, cycles of the seasons, like there's so much that you have in your repertoire. I'd love to just get a taste of as many of them as we can to support our audience in going, well, I never thought about that for this. Where
Well,
do you want to start?
what I feel is how synchronicity led us to how we are on a new moon portal right now.
Yes.
And if I were to guide you through what I love doing with me is I love opening portals in new moons, each new moon for myself. I do what I am feeling in the intention at the moment. Every new moon portal for me is what comes through my channel and what comes through my body. Example. Right now, I am navigating my living situation with my mom since my father has passed. So while being a doctor, daughter, caregiver, wife, empress, my body tells me what overwhelm feels like with muscle tension and sometimes digestion changes.
Yep.
So I tune into my body. What am I feeling today? Okay, so it's digestion. I sit in my awareness because this is something that we get to do. What is my body feeling? Where is it? What am I thinking is related to it? Talking to your body is how you get to know what it's saying. And then my day goes from there. So new moon energy, I'm opening a portal saying, if I'm having the shoulder, the muscle tension, or the stomach, I'm noticing there's overwhelm. I'm noticing there's probably time energy that I get to sit with. So this is my intention. My body is telling me that it's overwhelmed with time management and it's not digesting properly and it's not feeling the proper energy. So this is where I get my intention. I get a candle because I love using the elements to bring their energy into it. Air, earth, the ethers, all of it.
Yep.
And then I open my portal on the new moon. And I am very intentional with what I say or what I want to call forth, even if it's just the word, like I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm calling awareness to this. And my intention is to feel the energy of not that by saying, I'm feeling relief. I'm feeling supported. I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling joy. I'm feeling laughter. And really anchoring that. That is my energy of my new moon. And then what do I do in the cycle of the 28 days that follow? I listen to my body. How is my body talking to me? If it's stomach, if it's shoulder, if it's my throat, if it's my head, headaches, or if it's hips, knees, bones, joints. I'm following what my body is telling me during the day, and I relate my energy centers, the colors of the energy centers, body part, and I go to the food. Going back to muscle tension in shoulder and abdomen, I'm saying this is my extension of my heart chakra, so I'm going with green. Abdomen, so I'm going with yellow. And I always like adding energy center above and below. So then I would add a little blue and I would add a little orange. And that's me spicing it up, just playing with it. So what I want, like I usually do, is go to the supermarket and get fresh produce. The fresher, the more seasonal, the better. And I would go for butternut squash, yellow zucchinis, pineapples, broccoli, green zucchinis when it comes to vegetables. And if I want to do fruits, I do papayas, mangoes. So what I'm really doing is being intentional about the body part,
Yeah.
what energy center it's connected to, and taking it from there. Spiritually, soul is very important. Your soul, your spirit, your mind. So it's not just the colors, because you can color code your food and your energy, which raises the energy center's vibration optimally. You function better. And also the spiritual part. Where's my mind? What am I thinking? Where are my thoughts? What triggered this? Where is this coming from? Linking everything. And it's ceremony in play every day.
I'm trying to think of blue foods. The only thing I can think of is blueberry.
Blueberries, there's blackberries you can use. There's blue spirulina. I haven't used it, but the blue spirulina I've seen they've used in a lot of foods.
Yeah.
And when you can't find blues and purples, whites,
Okay.
like cauliflower, artichokes.
I love all of that. And what I just want to bring forward, in case, just to state the obvious, with the headache or feeling an upset stomach, there's two paths. One path is to go and take an aspirin or a Panadol or like some kind of antacid something, and the other part is to come into this beautiful ritual. And I think the other side of the beautiful ritual is just stillness and quiet, like in the contemplation of checking in with your body and what's my body telling me. And much of the medicine is just the stillness and the quiet and slowing down and connecting with yourself. I think it's, love all
Your
of
body is always bringing up information. It's just a matter of, what are you trying to tell me right now with this?
Yeah.
Why are you picking my right knee right now? Why my right knee and not my left shoulder? Like, why?
Yeah.
Your body is always telling you.
Yeah. And this comes back to the word dis-ease. It's like literally out of ease, dis-ease. It's like something's not quite in alignment, something's not in harmony. It's telling us. And yes, there are times, of course, when we need to take something, if it's really needed. But the solution is actually to work out what's causing the disease and to support that. And this is what I'm talking about with the simplicity of turning this around. I think the other thing that I'm very passionate about is the mental health picture. I read a book. It might be it called Lost Connections by Johan Hari. I don't know if you've read it. It's a fantastic book.
No.
But he did this whole study on what's causing the epidemic of anxiety and depression, and really looked at how we've become lonely, disconnected from community, but also pathologizing normal emotions. If somebody's been in grief for 6 months instead of 3 months after the death of somebody, suddenly they're handed a pill, like it's a pathology where it's not treating the human. So I would love to have a conversation about that. I've had a theme over the last sort of 12 months or more of quite a lot of clients that have lost close, partners, husbands in their lives. And I lost my sister, I've lost my father. And so death and dealing with grief, and a nephew, death and dealing with grief is very present in my life. And I've got all my own takes on it. But I would love, obviously it's been part of your story as well. So can what you're seeing and your thoughts and how you support people with anxiety and depression, I would love your take on it.
Ooh, I love this. Okay, so several ways I can go with this. I can start with acknowledging that when you experience headaches, anxiety, insomnia, and behaviors of the mind that are DSM-4 in, you know, the Western world, my experience has been even more and more and more confirmatory that these beautiful souls have a very open, intuitive, you know, open crown, open third eye, and open throat. And I say throat because you are clairaudient, you're hearing, and then you speak what you hear. And then they have this experience, and then they trust the people around them. Did you hear that? Did you see that? And then that gets stigmatized into no. And then, okay, so then I get to keep this in. And then you have, like, my experience with people that have migraines and anxiety and insomnia. Again, there's two paths. One is acknowledging that you have a gift, seeing, hearing, knowing beyond the human spectrum, forgiving yourself for not trusting that when people around you told you that was not normal, and then really opening to a new way outside this pill paradigm. Because there is pill treatment, and I understand that when there is a full open experience, when then you hear, you see, you may lean into acute treatment, just like a migraine pain. You're purging, you're hypersensitive to sights and sounds. You do require acute treatment. And also the openness from the treatment to actually experiencing this as a gift, as your actual channel, receiving messages to a point that the pills are not required, because what the pills do is disconnect this energy flow. It's a personal choice. I'm standing in a room where you get my findings, and then you choose which path you want to walk. Because I can walk you through the initial treatment of medications and then follow you through the specialist in that area. And or we can consider this path. Are you open to experiencing this from the level of, I can heal myself from this. I got what it takes. I just require somebody with the resources to just point me in the right direction.
I I'm interested that you brought up insomnia. I hadn't thought to ask you about that, but it feels like this is something that's really escalating. I'm seeing it in younger people. I'm seeing it in, teenagers, in kids in their 20s, kids in my mind, in their 20s. And obviously it's something that's just feels like it's a given for perimenopausal and menopausal women, but I feel like there's an escalation. Is this something that you're seeing?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Mm.
Yes. I insomnia, anxiety, depression, PTSD,
Mm.
bipolar, migraines,
Mm.
And not everyone is open to an alternative method.
Yeah.
Something that came through when you were mentioning the aspects of the disconnect in the younger population. I read this book called Emotion Code. I am remembering the author, chiropractor, that began using muscle testing.
Oh, I know. I have heard of that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Wow. That was what, when intuition is leading you into nudges of
Mm.
what's happening in someone's body.
Mhm.
When I would hear my clients talk to me about their symptoms,
Mm.
I have this happening in my hip. I have this happening in my intestines. I have this happening in my throat. I have this happening in my shoulders. I was already sensing emotions,
Mm.
thoughts, feelings, situations. And then I would automatically go, okay, so tell me what's going on at work, because I was connecting the hips and back to work. And I was hitting the nail on the head. I was not aware that what I was tapping into was the lack of the lack of connection with that part at work, because her boss was actually constricting her freedom of time and creativity, if that makes sense. But she was just talking about the hips, and I was somehow gathering that energy of the emotion. So when I read the emotion code, it all clicked.
Yeah.
Like there is a frequency to the body part that is actually speaking to you. So
Yeah.
when your body is giving you pain, it's kind of cliche to hear someone say your pain is a gift. It is, because it's information, it's a message. There's a frequency there
Yeah.
you get to look at, not just the anatomy and the physiology and the pathology
Yes.
to it.
Yes. I have a whole I feel very frustrated with the conversation because I'm in menopause now, and so I've had some time of going through perimenopause and menopause, and this conversation is obviously very prevalent. And I just hear the dogmatic feeding of fear of this time of life in women, and like it's a given that you're going to be miserable, that you're going to have hot flashes, that you're going to have all these things. And I've got a very different take on it because I play with these things myself. And I know that if I have a glass of wine occasionally, which I love to do, but I know I'm going to pay the price. I can guarantee that when I lie in bed that night, I'll have a hot flush. It is the body saying what you are doing, what you are putting in, not sleeping enough, the things, it's going to throw you off. And I think we just get more sensitive the older we get.
Absolutely.
These symptoms rise. But instead of talking about it like this from the medical profession that I've observed, it's like, here's a pill, like HRT, it's become, being a natural woman has become pathologized. It's like it's a given, you're gonna just need this medication because you're in menopause. Mother Nature did not create us to suffer. This is not, she didn't, or God, whatever your belief, the divine did not say, right, now I'm going to create a situation where these women are going to spend 10 years in complete misery because they've hit this age. That line of thinking is just so wrong.
Absolutely. I so agree. One of the things that really changed my perspective on womanhood was going back to how I had painful periods and I would pray them away because I did not love this womanhood aspect, the whole role projecting.
Yeah.
Part of my experience with Ayurveda, with energy work, with nature's cycles, and witnessing, we are so disconnected from our woman
Mm.
that alone creates menstrual periods to be so painful. I'm talking about, I was the kind that would get sick leave. Like I would get sick leave. That's how bad my moon cycles were.
Yeah.
There was a point where I did the connection. Painful periods are just the way the body releases your energy of out of alignment. There is something in your life that you're not in alignment with, whether it's your job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a belief, whether it's a way of being,
Yeah.
it's taking a toll on your moon cycle. And Ayurveda brings a seed cycling method that you can use instead of using the pills to hormone sync. You can use these seeds to cycle sync your hormones. There are ways that you can reconnect your body's natural cycle. You know, there's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha doshas in Ayurveda. And then as you're advancing into the sage, you're embracing a Vata dosha. So then what your body is asking for is the opposite. So you have your body's information. Nature has the resources. And yes, I agree. This transition does not have to be painful, does not have to be miserable, does not get to be looked at as, you know.
This is one of the great changes that we really get to be at the forefront of changing. The idea that our periods was even called the curse. I mean, there are so many things that have just been woven into our belief systems and our thought patterns that are that just pull us right off course. And I feel like these conversations are so critical in a bigger and bigger way. How we learn about our bodies gets to be from the wise women in our communities and from grandmothers. And unfortunately, I think we've got now multiple generations that have been so disconnected from this that many people have to look further afield for this information. But it's there. It's not lost. It's there, and we've got to go hunting for it. And, for those that are blessed enough to be in your vicinity to have a doctor like you, but I know from my experience, it's really rare to find somebody like you. I know because I hunt and look. And so you're an absolute gift. I'm so, so grateful that you're online and just being able to share this to a wider audience. It is a life-changing conversation to know that there is another option. And so I just want the women listening to this to know there's a whole other world out there, of alternative ways of looking at everything. And it's not right or wrong. Everybody gets to choose what feels best for them. But if we're choosing because we're afraid, then that's not the path to take. We get to look at that because we're choosing from intuition and trust. We have a knowing. Women are wise creatures.
Absolutely. We're just pure medicine.
Yeah.
Pure medicine.
Yeah. I know you've got a beautiful experience for our audience, and I would love to dive into that. Is there anything that I haven't asked that you would like to bring forward before we do that?
What I would love to share is the only and best way to heal your body is to getting to know your body, getting to know yourself, getting to know what your body's telling you, and looking at knee pain, that shoulder tinge, that nausea, that migraine as a warning, as a message. And by all means, treat the pain. Just be aware that the pain came with a message And instead of going back to what you were doing when the pain came, be there. Why did you come? What did you want me to know? What can I do different from here on out? And that's how you really connect with the medicine that you already are.
Yes. All right, I'm going to hand it to you and I'll be back when you're finished. Thank you so much.
Ooh. I'm already feeling the energy of our guides, the elements. I want to say thank you. Gracias, maestros, ancestros, abuelos, medicina. I'm opening space, acknowledging the directions, the elements, animals that guide us, our spirit guides, angels, our highest and most beautiful is expression of ourselves. As I open space, saying thank you, I want to invite everyone present to close your eyes with me. Take a deep breath in through the nose and hold. Let it out through the mouth with sound. Ah. I'm inviting you to sit comfortably or lay comfortably. You can put your hands on your side or on your lap's upright position or touching your heart wherever you feel called. I want to invite you inward. I want you to feel your body. And I want you to start by noticing what is the heaviest part? What is the heaviest center you are resting on? Be it your root, you're laying on your back, leaning your head, your feet. Feel your body. I want you to take another deep breath in through the nose. Hold and feel your heartbeat. And let it out with sound. Ah. Feel your body as you're breathing normally. And now I want you to imagine, visualize, see the glowing, golden, honey starts dripping from the top of your head. And it starts covering your forehead, your head, your eyes, your nose, your ears, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your arms, your torso, your belly. And it feels warm, luscious. It keeps on going down your hips, pelvis is down to your knees, shins, ankles, feet, and toes. Once you notice your body is covered in this gold and shimmering white light, you're noticing your body is slowly fading. The room around you is beginning to fade. And now you're finding yourself walking. You're walking down a forest. You're feeling safe. Although this forest looks new, it feels familiar. You're hearing the sound of the birds, and you're seeing the way the sunlight comes through the trees. The smell is moist. You notice at a far distance there is a wooden shack. It's round. It appears Maloka. You notice there's smoke coming out of the chimney. You see a golden light through the wood door, and you're invited inwards. And as you open the door, make your way in, you notice there is a fire, warm, inviting. And as you walk towards this fire, you're noticing, you're sensing, you're feeling there is something, an energy, someone present, coming close to the fire with you. As you turn, you notice this is you. This is you representing your physical body, a specific body part. You immediately notice because your body is responding. One body part you neglect. That one body part you get mad at when it starts acting up. One body part you grab the pill for when it starts showing up. One body part you kind of normalize, but you kind of also want to make go away. And as you're standing there in the fire, you're seeing yourself. And instead of feeling that nuisance over your body part, you're noticing, you're seeing yourself. You're softening your heart. You somehow notice within you comes this desire to say, forgive me for ignoring you. Forgive me for neglecting you. Forgive me for not listening. Forgive me. I love you. Wash over your body. Let your body receive that message fully. I'm inviting you to extend your arms out and ask your body part, do you have a message for me? Is there something you want me to know? Is there something you desire me to change? And listen, receive. Keep your hands if it feels cold. Or place your hands on the body part you're connected with. And as you feel the message completing, notice how you are merging into yourself. And you're finding yourself alone, facing the fire. And you are not alone. You have just connected with your inner wisdom. Have just connected with your inner guide. And as you stand in the fire, you get to make a choice. Do you acknowledge this part as your messenger, ally, friend, instead of that nuisance? It's inconvenient. You decide to understand the messages as they come, or brush off and ignore, grab the pill and keep it moving. I'm inviting you to take a deep breath in and really anchor your choice. As you let it out, sound. I want you to lean into the fire. Let the warmth of it consume you. And slowly notice yourself coming back to the beginning of your journey. I want to invite you to take a deep breath in and start wiggling your toes, moving your hands, shake your hips, move your belly, move your shoulders. And when you're ready, you can come back to your eyes.
So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I know you have, beyond this beautiful experience, meditation, you have a gift for our audience. Did you want to take a minute just to let them know what that is?
Ooh, absolutely. We were speaking to how we have a cyclical body. Time is cyclical. There are seasons, and I play the whole moon cycle and cyclical energy because it's how our bodies respond best optimally.
Mm.
So my gift is seasonal guide where you have shopping suggestions, whether it's fruits, vegetables, spices, or infusions that can support you in the season that you're in, according to the dosha that you have or the disbalance that you want to regulate. So it's a guide that you get to look at. And my invitation would be see the season that you're in, know your dosha, know what you want to work with on your body, and then let your body nudge you into, ooh, I feel like this fruit. I feel like this.
Yeah.
And let your body nudge you forward. You have already activated your body's nudge, your body's guide, your body's messaging. It is our commitment now to listen, understand, and move forward accordingly. The guide is just support and resources.
So good. Thank you so much. Is that that's an Ayurvedic guide just for?
Yes.
Yeah, lovely.
It uses the Ayurveda concept where you get to know what your dosha is. And the season also has doshas. So you get to know the body's doshas, the seasonal doshas, and then what are the foods that support you.
Yeah. The way you say Ayurveda is so much sexier than how I say it.
Thank you.
Do you have a word for Empress? I'm dying to know.
For Empress, actually, no. I say Empress, I say goddess, I say mystic, I say oracle. I feel all bring the energy when I really, they all bring the energy for me.
Yeah, you do. So I've got one final question for you. Intuitively, what comes to mind, straight away when I ask you, where are you and what are you doing when you feel that complete sense of inner calm, joy, and in harmony with the natural world?
Where I live, there is a beautiful beach where the sunrise is amazing.
Mm.
A lot of animals, which is where I feel we communicate. I understand their frequencies.
Yeah.
They know me. I call them by their name. And we walk. I call them, I say, boys, girls, we're going to the beach and we're off. We go to the beach, we walk, we sit, we breathe, I meditate, I listen to music, I sing. I'm there. This is my name.
Mm. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. I know it is late for you.
Oh, I appreciate.
So thank you so much for being with us. I'm so excited to share this conversation. It is something that I'm just so passionate about. So for you to give us your time and to be part of this conversation, I'm truly grateful. Thank you so much, Katia.
Honored, honored, honored.
All right, beautiful souls. That is it from us for another interview in Embody the Empress. I am so, so, so looking forward to connecting with you again. Lots and lots of love. And bye for now.